How are you doing? Sorry I missed you last week. I was traveling with work and I had taken a kit that I was going to try and do in my hotel room, but then I couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work and the camera. Anyway, it was just all a disaster. But I'm glad to be back this week. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some crafting with you. Hey Ali, hey Karen. Um, Before I start crafting what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you some of the cards that we made at the team event, which happened last weekend, which we just had such a was it last weekend or was it the weekend before? I think it was last weekend. I don't know. The days are all just blurring into each other right now because it's just been so busy. But we had a really good time at the mini team event at my house. There was a Stampin' Up presentation type thing where they showed us lots of sneak peeks for the new catalogue. I know we've just had the new annual catalogue come out, but the Christmas catalogue will be on us before you know it. It's never too early to get started. So we got some really good sneak peeks from that. And again, I just want to remind you that we have 2 more days left until the end of June. So we've got a special promotion for people who are interested in the starter kit. If you fancy joining the team, if you want to enjoy that discount and maybe even do it as a business opportunity, drop me a message. I'm more than happy to chat you through what that all entails. But let's jump to the good stuff and show you what I've got. So these were 2 of the cards that we made at the Creativity Now event. So this one we did first, and this is using the translucent florals stamp set, the stamp set here. And maybe you're looking at it going, Emma, I don't recognise that stamp set. It's not in the catalogue. It's not. It's coming in the next catalogue. It's coming in the autumn winter catalogue that will come out for customers in September, but for demonstrators we get it in August. So very exciting. But yes, so demonstrators who attended the event at the weekend got to get this one in advance. It's got matching dies which go with it. And so we had this design here, and then the stepped up version was using the dies and using vellum. Do you see that? We've stamped on vellum to get this kind of translucent effect. The same on the leaves as well. So same card, just the basic version and then the stepped up version using the dies. Plus, I love what we did here. This is using the deckled edged rectangular dies, and you use 2 dies, so the larger one and then the slightly smaller one, but then you stick them both together and you get like this frame effect. I thought it was really clever, so I had fun doing that. So that was the first card that we made at the event. Then we did this one. So again, you've got the basic version and then the stepped up version. The stepped up version we did slightly differently because you were meant to cut out a mask and then use embossing paste, but we didn't have time to do that. Plus I didn't have the embossing paste to hand here. So we used vellum instead, and I still think that's quite pretty. And then the third card we did was this one. So again, the basic version. Over here you can use, we've used the dies to cut out the vellum. And again, you might be thinking, coloured vellum, Emma, there isn't coloured vellum in the catalogue. No, but if you use the blender pens, you can colour in standard vellum to get these beautiful shapes. And then that's using an embossing folder in the back, the deckled edged rectangles again. So that was the basic version. The stepped up version, again, using the pens to colour in the vellum, but can you see the spots on there? And you might even be able to see the patterned leaves on the leaf. You can definitely see the spots on this one here. You might be able to see the patterned leaf effect there. Hey Debbie. So these were using the patterned vellums that we've got in the catalogue, but then again colouring them in with the blends to get that effect. So those were the cards that we did. Do you have a preference? Which one do you like best? Is it the card number 1 where we used the flowers? Was it card number 2, the congratulations, more with the leaves? Or card number 3 with the coloured vellum? Let me know which one is your favourite. Hey Julie, glad you're here. So while you lot are telling me which one you prefer, so card 1, card 2, or card 3, I am going to get ready for what we're going to be crafting tonight. You prefer card number 2, you like them all, Karen. Yeah, it's hard to choose between them. You like number 1, so we've got a good spread here. Lots of different things that people like. Okay, tonight's Facebook Live is inspired by my lovely Tom, because he was in my craft room and he was looking at, it was actually an order that's going out to a customer. Somebody had purchased some items and they had arrived, and I'm packaging them up, and he'd picked up not this pack of papers, but the same pack that somebody had ordered, and said, oh, they're fab. Are you going to use them for your live tonight? And I thought, that's a good idea. Let's use these. So I've shared these papers with you already when we did a sneak peek. They're the Masterfully Made papers, 12 by 12, and they're just gorgeous. And so I thought, do you know what? Let's use these for the live tonight. And I've got a couple of different ideas of things that I want to do. Remember that the DSP sale is still on, so until the end of June, you're getting 15%, I think it's 15% discount off designer series paper, and that includes this pack here. So it's just a beautiful pack. But I'm going to make a couple of cards, and the papers that I thought I would use, let me see if I can pull this up a wee bit further so that you can see the full 12 by 12 on the screen. But we've had a few of these kinds of papers recently from Stampin Up, where one sheet of 12 by 12 is designed to give you multiple very simple card fronts. So I'm going to use both of these sheets and show you just how that's done. So let's start off with this one here. I'm going to put it into my trimmer. I'm going to push it all the way down to that lip at the bottom, because that is 6 inches. So if you put your paper and push it all the way down to that lip, that will easily just cut your 12 by 12 in half into 6 by 6. I'm going to do the same with this one as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these strips here, and I'm going to cut them and just mount them onto card bases. Let's have a look at the colours that are involved in these papers. So, Azure Afternoon, so that's that kind of bluey shade. Berry Burst, that's this pinky shade here. Crushed Curry, that's that yellow. Fresh Freesia, that's this purpley shade. Lemon Lime Twist, that's obviously these stems. Lemon Lolly, do we have Lemon Lolly on these two? I don't think we do, because that's a paler yellow. You see it in some of the other sheets. Lost Lagoon, yeah, this sort of bluey green shade. Melon Mambo, that's the pink. Night of Navy, do I have Night of Navy on these? Maybe a touch on that, not really, not on these two particular pieces of paper here. Pretty Peacock, yeah, that's this shade here. Pumpkin Pie on these? No, I'm pretty sure that's the Crushed Curry. And Sweet Sorbet. Sweet Sorbet is probably that one there. So you've got some Melon Mambo, some Sweet Sorbet, some Berry Burst. So you've kind of got reds, pinks, purples all in there. So I'm going to do 2 different card bases. You see, even now as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking of different ways that you could do this. And I think I'm going to go... Right. Don't be shocked, she says. But I'm going to start off just with a plain white card base, and I'll show you why. Because I love a coloured card base, but sometimes just a plain white card base is all you need. And actually, I'm going to do something that I don't often do. Here's my thick, basic white cardstock. I'm going to make 2 card blanks here, so I'm putting it in at 10.5 and scoring. Then I'm going to take it to my 14.9 and cut. And that gives me 2 standard C6 card bases that will fit in our normal envelopes. Use my trusty bone folder to crease these, get them ready. Now, almost all of my cards, I would do the layer so that there's a thin gap around the edge. That's almost always how I do it. But this time, I think I'm going to mat the entire thing, which is why it doesn't matter what colour my card base is. So let's do this and see what this looks like. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about this. This is something I don't normally do. Use the entire piece of DSP. Just trim off that little bit at the top as well. And that bit that I've trimmed off, I'm still going to use for something. They're great for doing sentiments and labels and other little things. But, I've cut it the wrong size. Well done, Emma. How did I manage to do that? Try that one again. So that's 10.5. So that fits the width perfectly. And then this is 14.8. Did I do that before? There we go. Much smaller piece, so it's probably going to be right this time. Hey Margaret, glad you're here. Right, so I have got my DSP that is the same size as my card blank, and I'm just going to stick the whole thing down to the front. I feel quite nervous doing this. Although, look at the shade at the back. Isn't that pretty? Oh, that's the problem with having beautiful designer series paper where you like both sides. How do you decide which side to use? Although I suppose our packs of paper, you do get 2 of each sheet. So you can have one sheet to use the front and the other sheet to use the back. Right. Let's line this up. Make sure that I've got it straight. There we go. So now, really, all that needs is a sentiment. And what I'm going to use for my sentiments, I'm thinking I'm going to get out my cut and emboss here. Let me just go and grab this. 2 ticks. Right, I've literally just pulled out my whole box of dies here. So we've got our alphabet a la mode dies, which was my first thought. But then I've got some words dies that might suit as well. Let's see. Let's start with these letters. And so now the next decision is, if I'm doing letters, do you know what? I'm going to do this as a birthday card for a very special girl. My niece had her birthday recently. Let's see if I can fit this on. Yeah, that's going to fit beautifully. There we go. So the letters will fit on really nicely there. So now the question is, hey Linda, glad you're here. So the next question is, what colour should I do the letters? And if I'm doing it on top of the flowers and the floral background, I need it to be something that will stand out. So at the moment, I'm thinking probably white. Just having a quick look at the specialty papers that we've got to see what might work. I think vellum's not going to stand out enough. Although actually a strip of vellum along the bottom could work. Let me just have a look and see what specialty papers I can pull out for us to try. Holographic. How do we feel about holographic? Let's pull this out. I'm not sure holographic's going to go well with the flowers. Too much? Maybe not the top holographic, maybe this gold. Gold's a good idea. Let's see what we've got in the way of gold. Yeah, I think the holographic's too much. So we've got the brushed gold, which is quite nice. The distressed gold is called. We've got just the standard gold sheets, which is that one. That could be nice. Or, actually, there's another one. 2 ticks, I need to reach somewhere else for this. Nope, I was going to suggest the Bedazzling specialty paper, but I think I must have put it in a bag somewhere because I can't find it. So, distressed gold or standard gold? I'm thinking probably standard gold. Let's go with our standard gold and see what that looks like. So I'm going to pull out a piece of my gold foil. Now with letters like these, my first thought is I want to use adhesive sheets, but actually I'm thinking foam. Let's use my foam sheets on these to make it really stand up and stand out. There we go. No worries, Linda. Take care. Hope you're okay. Okay, so let's get my foam sheets. And let's see how we're going to best position these. I can probably be quite, if I'm smart. Oh, can I fit all of these on here? Yeah, there we go. So now let's cut off an appropriate sized piece of foam. To about there and about there. Okay. You'd think that putting this foam through the cut and emboss machine, through your die cutting machine, would just squash it all completely flat, but it actually works really, really well. One thing you do have to be careful, of course, with letters is that you put them through the right way around. Go on, ask me how I know. Right. Let's put these down. Load them up on my cut and emboss. Right, so lining up my letters, I want to put them all along here. Actually, if I do them all this way, will I fit them all in nicely? on, sandwich it in place with the top plate, and then let's crank it through. Right. And you can see from the other side that it's gone all the way through, which is excellent. That's exactly what we need. These are popping off already. Nice and handy. Put them over there. And so now I just need to separate these out. Get my scissors here just to make it easier. I don't want to tear them or bend them in bad ways. Normally these letters just pop out so easily, but because they've got the extra foam layer, and also because I'm trying to keep the backing on them, I suppose I don't need to do my way to peel the backing off. Let's just pop that down there. See, it's stuck to me already. The good thing about having an alphabet means that you can do any name you want, any word you want. If you have friends or family members with unusual spellings, you can still personalize something for them. I'm sure we all know people who have got unusual names. This isn't that unusual a name though, I suppose. Oh, I'm not going to stick that on just yet. I have an idea. So let's just put those letters on here. Also, I think the S, I think there's definitely a right way around and a wrong way around for the S. Okay, here's my idea. I want your opinion on. Where's my vellum gone? Here we go. So given that this card, this DSP, hey Jean, better late than never, I'm sure that's my family motto. So what I thought would be nice is just to put a bit of vellum along the edge there. Let's trim that to the right size. So I want it to be the same width as my card. But then I thought, given that all of these papers are about torn shapes, let's tear, and if you do it, you can get a nice white effect along the edge. And I don't want to do it precisely, I want to get this sort of texture on it, like that. And now let's just see the width of one of these, so let's do it to about there. Let's now tear it. The other way like that. And so then the thought is to put just a torn bit of vellum along the bottom of the card. Just going to tear that again, just get that kind of point off. There we go. So what do you think? Should I put the letters directly onto the card like that? Trying to peel off enough of the backing so you can get an idea of this without actually committing to it. The letters just on like that, or if I put the vellum on first, just, I think it makes the letters pop out just that little bit more with the vellum. You know, I think you're right, Karen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the letters and place them onto the vellum and then position the vellum where I think it needs to go. And if it doesn't work, we can kind of peel them off the vellum. But let's try this for just now. These letters are lovely. Just this thin, stylish alphabet. It's just timeless. this off. There we go. And I'm not spreading it out across the whole of the card. I want it to kind of be more left justified. She says, using big words as if she knows what they mean. You know what I mean, though. I didn't want to have it perfectly spaced out. Like that. I think with the vellum it's definitely going to work best, isn't it? I think I need to have a little heart or something here, or a flower, or tear the vellum off, turn it into flag, leave it as it is. What would happen if I turned it into a flag? What do you think? Just as an example, if I cut it to a flag end, so like a fishtail end, like that, or just leave it across, maybe just leaving it across. I start second guessing myself a lot of the time on this. Ooh, do you know what we could do? We could cut out one of these flowers and place it on the top. Is that worth doing? A wee heart. Yes. Let's do a wee heart. This is for my niece, who I love very, very much. And so a wee heart might be just the thing. Of course, having said that, I had the full alphabet here a second ago and now I've put it down. Here we go. Is there a heart as part of this alphabet? I don't know if there is. Sometimes you get extra shapes and stuff. There's letters, there's numbers, there's exclamation marks. It's not a heart. Leave it as is. Oh, you see, now I don't know. You lot are very good at giving advice, but then I get different ideas. Let me put these back on the sheets. The other thing I love about these alphabets, I don't know if you noticed, is that I've got 2 letter E's and I've got 2 letter I's, 2 A's, 2 N's. So if you're doing certain words, so like, well, at least that's a word that's got 2 E's in it, it just makes it easier for running through the cut and emboss machine, because the popular letters you can use more than once. Where's the case for that? There we go. Do you know what? I think I'm going to leave it as it is for just now. But if I change my mind and I want to add something onto it, I can. Let's... Ooh, what about ribbon tied round there in the bow? Let me get some ribbon. I've got an idea for this. 2 ticks. Okay, here's the thought. What if I tied ribbon round the vellum, did like a little bow on here? I can tidy this up in a minute. Plus I'm just doing this quickly with the pink ribbon because I'm going to show you something else in a second. And then, of course, I need your advice. So, I could do a little bow on the edge there like that. And then if I was going to do that, if I do it in that, so that's my sweet sorbet, which matches these colours, or I use the gold trim and I tie the gold trim round it. Or I double it up and I use the trim, I use the pink and the gold. Oh, shall I try and double it? See what it looks like doubled. Let's cut that off first. I'm getting very fancy now. Tell me somebody else out there is a bit like me. Getting a little bit carried away, going over the top. I keep seeing Julie's message, just leave it as it is. I just have ideas and I want to try them out. It's worth an experiment, I think. And I love using ribbon, but using two ribbons together just might make it that little bit fancier. You can do it without damaging anything. This is where you need like 7 pairs of hands. You'd hold a finger down there, push that through there, and tie it. What about that? Golden pink? You're not a nag at all, Julie. You're not a nag. You know how much I love crafting and getting advice from all my getting all the creative input from people who join me on the Facebook Lives. Really does make a big difference. Let's try and tie this into a bow. I've left it a bit small to do bunny ears, so plus I'm doing a double loop bow as well. You wouldn't think that I know what I'm doing, would you? By looking at me. It's because I don't. You know, I don't, not really. Let's see. Pull that tight. Adjust that just a little bit. And trim that off. What do we think? Is that pretty, using the double bow? Or is it too much? I think it looks pretty. I'm very tempted just to go with it. While you lot tell me if I'm insane or not, I'm just going to adjust this E because it's got a wee bit squished. Just want to make sure that it's nice, aligned. There we go. You like it. Double it. Love it. Great. Brilliant. Got some positive feedback. Let's go with that then. Let's stick this down. Lovely. I'm sticking down the vellum with my Tombow, but I'm going to kind of trace it underneath the letters so it's not as obvious. Now, when it dries, it's going to dry clear anyway, so I'm not overly worried if it smudges. But let's put that down just now. There we go. What do you think? So the paper really is the star of the show here. But and to be fair, as I'm looking at it on the camera, it almost looks 3D, doesn't it? I was thinking about cutting some flowers out and sticking them on top to make it actually 3D, but it looks 3D as it is. It's not. See, it's completely flat, apart from the letters at the bottom that we've just done. But you're impressed with my bow tying. Thank you. You're very kind, Jean. I don't feel like it was much to be impressed about because I've seen people do much neater bows than me, but I'm glad you like it. And actually, I think that's worked out really well as a card. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to add more to it. Instead, we're going to move on, and I'm going to do the second card. And this one, as much as it was fun using the entire piece of paper for the background, I think this one I am going to layer it up. But I'm going to layer it up, and I want to put a layer of berry burst underneath. So let's get my card stock. And I have an idea for this one as well, which I'm still not entirely sure if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. So let's see. So I'm cutting this layer to 14 point, what did I do that to? 14.3 by 10, because this should, if I've done my maths right, be just slightly smaller than my standard card base. There we go. And then this one, I'm going to cut it to 9.5. Now, rather than just trim straight off of the top or the bottom, I want it to be roughly in the middle. So let's just line this up and see how we're going to do this. Do I need to take equal amounts off the top and the bottom? Yes. So let's start off by, so I want this one to be 13.8 and it's currently 15.2. 13.8 and 15.2, so that's 1.4, which means I need to take 9 off of each. Do you know what? I'm going to take less than that. I'm going to take 7 off of each end, because it's always better to take a smaller amount and then adjust as needed than to have taken too much and then be trying to add stuff back on again. So let's just put that on. Do you know what? That's fine. That's 7 off of each end. And actually, I think that's, yeah, I think that's the way I want it. Okay, so I've got my layer and my patterned paper. So next, I want to put something else on here. And what I thought I would try, and again, you know, I'm starting to doubt myself on this one, but I'm gonna give it a go and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. But do you remember at my sneak peek, I showed you these. So this is the Delightful Doily Hybrid Embossing Folder. And I thought these papers would go really nicely with this kind of like doily effect. So let's pull these out. And I'm thinking I'm going to do it in white initially. And I think we'll start off with the big one, but I might trim it down using some of these little ones. Let's get a bit of basic white. It's my thick basic white, I don't want that. Some of my, where's my basic white? One moment, colour. There we go. Is that going to be big enough? Probably will, actually. Right. I've not done this before, so you're just going to have to bear with me, and let's hope that this works. So, what you do is you line up the embossing folder. You know, let's look at the instructions. But the embossing folder goes inside. So the die goes inside the embossing folder. Do you know what? What can possibly go wrong? Let's put that piece of paper on there. Let's just look to see which way these dots go. I'm going to put it on there like that. I'm going to fold it shut. It's going to be an experiment, ladies and gentlemen. If I put it in the right way around. What can go wrong? I don't think I'm going to cut the... Oh, and then I need to have the right layers. So for a 3D embossing folder, I use plate 1 and plate 4. Let's give this a go. Cross your fingers. Hi Debbie, glad you're here. We're experimenting. Don't know how this is going to work, but we'll soon find out. Right. Okay, so it's cut out and it's done some of these embossed bits as well. I'm trying to figure out which bits are meant to be embossed and which bits are meant to be cut all the way through. I kind of think that's meant to be cut all the way through. I'm going to run this through just on the die on its own. Sometimes I do plan and prepare things in advance before I do these lives. Sometimes I just wing it, as I don't think comes as any surprise to many of you. If this is your first time watching me, then I'm sorry. But sometimes we really are just playing and experimenting. And this is one of those nights. Let's put it through just the die. There we go. So you see these bits are now kind of like popping out, which suggests that they were meant to. But I'm going to use, so with this set of dies comes, here we go, this one, because I just want to cut out that center piece. Like so. So let's put that back through. If I was being really precise, I would get some washi tape or masking tape or something to hold it in place. But I'm not being really precise. We're just playing and experimenting and giving it a go, seeing what happens. There we go. Poke out the last couple of little bits. I'm going to end up with tiny little white circles all over my floor, aren't I? There we go. So that's like a little mini doily piece, because I thought that would look pretty on this card front here. So if I layer these pieces up and then use that doily, shall I cut out one of the bigger doilies as well? Lots of tiny, tiny little white bits all over the place. Let's just poke out those extra bits. Now if I'd been smart, I would have paid attention to which way up I put the die in the embossing folder. I suppose I can go back and look at the video later, but I want to give it another shot. Let's give it another shot. What colour should I do the bigger doily in? I'm thinking one of these colours on here. This might be a job for Pretty Peacock. Lost Lagoon. What are your thoughts? Or should I go for more of the Berry Burst? Go for the same deep pink shade? I need to get my bin because I've got tiny, tiny little scraps of paper everywhere now. Oh, I've got a bin here. That's handy. What do people think? Coloured doily? White doily? Do I need the bigger one? Just leave it with a little. Not any of the pinks. Okay. Yep, I think that's fair. To be honest, I was thinking Pretty Peacock would work quite nicely. Kind of, I'll show you the shade I mean. Where's my... No, that's Lost Lagoon. Where's my Pretty Peacock gone? Because I had the team over last weekend, I think some of my colours got used and got moved. There we go. What about that shade? Let's use a bit of that. Bigger and coloured, maybe yellow. Yellow would be an interesting idea. I've got the Pretty Peacock here. I'm going to give that a go first. And I'm thinking, let's just cut out a piece in this shape. She says, just hacking away at it like an animal. Let's try running this through first and then putting it back into that hybrid embossing folder and seeing what happens. I really want to give it a go. Give it a proper attempt in the name of science and experimentation. We have had these hybrid embossing folders out for a while. So there's been Christmassy ones and frame type ones, which I've seen other people use. And they looked pretty, but they were never really my style. But I liked the idea of the doily ones. I thought it was quite versatile. I thought I could use it quite a lot. Never buy anything unless you really like it. A lot of the time, especially demos, we think, oh, I've got to buy that because everybody's buying it, or because that's the in fashion. But you know what? If you don't like it, you're not going to use it. So don't buy it. Don't waste your money on stuff unless you know that you like it and you're going to use it. Right. Picking out all these little bits. They've kind of stuck to the folder. It's like static electricity almost holding them all in place. And if I get them out first, then that's going to make it far more effective when I try and cut this out. Right. So let's line this up. Line this up first of all. How does it go? Right. Okay. So for a start, it's not completely symmetrical. So like all of these pieces. Right. So I need to make sure that I get it the right way around. So that's the right way around. That's how it cuts. What do we think? Around like that. This fit. Right, so let's line that up first and then line this up second. And then let's fold it over and see what happens. Right. Let's try this. I can't remember if I've done this the same way as I did it the first time or not, but we'll find out in a second, I'm sure. See, it's something I think I certainly need more practice with. At the end of the day, practice makes perfect and all that jazz. I'm just going to cut that out again because some of these little bits haven't gone through all the way. So let's just slide it again. And for all that I've done the bigger one, I'm looking at it thinking, how is it going to fit on my card front? I can actually chop it in half and just use a piece of it. We have options, people. We have lots of options. We also have lots and lots of little bits all over the place. These tiny little clingy bits. Let's push them to one side. Right. See, it is a nice doily shape. It really is. And there is some of the embossing. I don't know if you can see on these like little paisley pattern pieces. There's some embossed elements. So that is pretty. Stick that on the top there like that. Right, let's push that to one side just for a minute. So if I've got my piece of DSP layered up on my berry burst, I'm going to put this, do you know what, should I do it in the corner? I could chop part of it off, like that, and then that one there, or that one kind of like also chopped off. I could do part of it up there. Let's see. What about that? Having a bit of it in the corner, then that bit up at the top, in the corner. Yeah. Now, this is where I'm thinking I should have used an adhesive sheet at the back of this. Let's just use my trusty Tombow. How much easier would this have been if I'd used my adhesive sheets? Remember your adhesive sheets, people. Don't make my mistakes. So let's stick that. Let's stick it there. Let's just do it. There comes a point where you just need to commit and just go with it. Let's trim that off. Now, of course, there's lots of other pieces here that I could use on another card, or maybe inside or on the envelope. Yeah, just because I've just used that corner, I'm still going to keep that because I'll use that for something else. There's a bit on the corner. And then this one in the corner as well, or just use half of it along the side, or use half of it along the bottom. What do we think? Bottom on top? Or actually, could use it along here. So, first question then, folks. Left hand side or right hand side? At the moment, I'm kind of leaning towards right hand side. Or along the bottom as well as another option. Or I could put it up in the top corner. Too many choices. Too many choices. My first instinct is to do it right hand side, just that bit. Right hand side. I agree, Julie. I'm going with what you suggest. Let's do it on the right hand side. There we go. I managed to get a bit of the glue through it. Again, if I'd just used my adhesive sheets, I wouldn't have had this problem. Use my glue eraser just to get rid of that excess bit of glue. There we go. And then let's trim that off. Okay, and one of the reasons that I haven't stuck it down to my berry burst layer yet, because I'm still contemplating, should I put some ribbon down the centre? See, again, just strip of gold. Yeah, I like that. I think it looks nice. Does it need a knot in the centre? Let's just for a bit of interest. See if I was going to do a knot. See what that looks like. Not a bow, just a knot to break it up, give it texture. What do you think? Knot or no knot? I think no knot. Let's pull that back out again. Or a finger knot. Let's do a finger knot, see what we think. You seen me do finger knots before? Literally, I'm going to tie a knot around my finger. It is very important that you do not do it too tightly, because if you do it too tightly, not only do you cut off circulation to your finger, but you can't then slide it off. That becomes a problem. So you end up with basically a loop on your ribbon, like so. And then all you do is just slice that loop in half, so you get just that little bit. So do it round. So right, gang, there's our options. With the knot or plain. Thank you, Jean. It's one of these little tips that I got from somebody years and years and years ago, and I've never forgotten it. Let's do it with a knot. Knot over it to one side or in the centre. I think in the centre is nice. Let's do it with a knot. One vote for no knot, but 2 notes for knot. I'm afraid you're outvoted, Karen, sorry. Rightio. Let's stick this down. When Tom was looking at this DSP, he came up with a great idea for a home decor piece, which I love his idea, I love his thinking. It's a little bit too complicated to do on a Facebook Live, but I'm hoping that I'll get time to give it a try. And if I do, I will be sure to share the results with you. He does come up with some rather clever ideas, does my lovely Tom. There we go. Oh, yeah. Let's put glue again. Remember this designer series paper, 15% discount, finishes at the end of the month. So if you want to get your hands on it, please reach out to me. I will be putting an order in again before the end of the month. So if you want to share on postage, then you can just get in touch with me. But yeah, don't miss out on a bargain. This is just one of the gorgeous papers that's on offer at the moment. And we've been having a lot of fun with them this month. There we go. Right, and let's layer that up again, stick it onto our card base. And then all we really need to do to finish this one off is a sentiment. I think this one's going to be a birthday card by the looks of things. I'm just getting birthday vibes from it. Plus it's always handy having birthday cards around, isn't it? I need to be better at sending birthday cards. Everybody I know is nodding vigorously in the background. There we go. Right, let's get our suitable sentiment for this one. Just going to shake off all of these little bits here. Here's a question for you then while I'm looking for sentiments. Which set has got your favourite happy birthday in it out the catalogue at the moment? Because I go through phases where I've had favourite happy birthdays and then they've retired, and so I've switched to different ones. What's your favourite happy birthday? What's Tom's idea? Okay, I'll show you very quickly. before I go and find a happy birthday stamp. But his idea is this sheet here of the DSP. He reckons you could cut, or rather tear, like tear that bit and then tear that bit and then tear the mountains and then kind of layer them up on top of each other in a frame using foam dimensionals to give it an actual 3D effect. And you could put the lights behind it like we did with the Christmas village scene. You could layer them up and have lights in between the different layers. I think it's a good idea. I will give it a try, just not tonight. It is a cool idea. He does come up with some very clever ideas sometimes. Right, so your suggestions. So the beautiful balloons, yeah, that is a fab happy birthday. I love that one. The go-to greetings, we've got three different choices of happy birthdays. They're nice too. The other one that I pulled out just because I saw it, circle sayings. This is a really lovely little happy birthday as well. So I think, let's just see sizes. This one could be, yeah, beautiful balloons it is. And first I was thinking, will I stamp it onto a layer? But I think I might just stamp it directly onto the DSP. I'll stamp it directly down there. And let's do it. Stamp it directly on there, and let's do it in the Pretty Peacock. So just going to check that I'm not doing it on a very uneven surface. Yeah, that's going to come up all right. Let's just do it. See, now I'm paranoid that I'm going to end up with ink in places I don't want it to be. Let's just wipe that off. I'm using one of the clear blocks from one of the kits just because it was to hand. Happy birthday. There we go. And then we've got to finish this off with a bit of bling, don't we? We're very nearly done, but let's just use some bling to finish this one off. I haven't used these yet, so I'm going to. These were embellishments, gold adhesive backed swirls. They were one of the online ones at one point. I think they're still current. I'm not 100% sure. But you know what? I've got them, I've never used them, and so I'm going to. Let's use my take a pick tool to lift these off because I think they're really pretty. I think they're going to finish this one off just nicely. Let's just put a couple of them up here as well. This is the problem. I get carried away. How much bling is too much bling? There we go. Stop there, Emma. One more? Just one more. One more and then I'll stop. I sound like a child who just wants to watch one more episode. There we go. Do we think we need some bling on here as well? I think we do, don't we? Should we put some of these on here too? I think so. I think so. Let's do it. Don't be stingy, Emma. Use your bling. I buy all these packets of bling and I look at them and admire them, I need to remember to actually use them. And for some reason, I don't know why, don't ask me why, but odd numbers seem to look better than even numbers. So when I'd done 4 on that one, it just didn't look right. That's why I needed to put on the 5th one. Whereas this one, stopping at 3, just works. No such thing as too much bling. I love your sentiment, Debbie. I have seen cards with too much bling. Right, so these are our cards that we've made this evening then. They're both using the Masterfully Made Designer Series paper. This one here using the whole sheet of paper onto our card base, and then using the alphabet and the foam pads at the bottom, and then the double ribbon to tie the bow, and just a little bit of vellum to give it that background. And then again, the same papers, and then giving little touches here with the hybrid doily dies, a little bit of ribbon around the centre, then finishing it off with the beautiful balloons stamp there. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed that this evening. Thank you for joining me. Let me flip back round so I can see you. Yeah, thanks for joining me with crafting. We will have more to come next Wednesday. Remember the special offers that are finishing in a couple of days' time, though. They're only running till the end of June. You got 15% off the Designer Series paper, and we've got a really good starter kit deal. For £99, you can get £154 worth of stuff with free postage and 20% discount off anything else that you want until the end of September. If you are interested in any of those deals, please do reach out to me, and I'd be happy to give you all the information that you need and answer any questions. All right, I hope you enjoy the lovely weather, and take care. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye.